What is going on, Pokemon fans? This is GeneralTarheel bringing you the APA low tier draft analysis. Now, this is exactly what all of you asked for down in the comment section of the Ascension draft analysis video. So thank you very much for replying to see what you guys want to watch. And I'm happy you chose this. I actually really want to upload low tier, and I'm looking forward to playing it. I am the commissioner of the low tier league, and when setting it up was pretty fun, setting up the tiers, gathering the coaches. And I'm very happy about this draft, and I'm looking forward to the entire season. So I am, once again, grateful for y'all telling me that you want to see this, and I'm hopefully going to bring the best content that I can out of it, along with Ascension. And that's probably what we're going to be looking at for every weekend. I'll probably upload Ascension on Friday, and then maybe a low tier on Saturday, or would y'all like to see a middle of the week upload so I have like more spread out videos, like one on Friday/Saturday and one on Wednesday? I'm willing to do that, so just, once again, let me know. I'm just trying to spread out the best I can, but I know people like to have their weekend videos most of the time. Alright, so for the draft, we had 16 coaches. Obviously, I was one of them, being the commissioner and king of everything. And ironically, I did the randomization of everyone's draft spots in a call with my other admins. And I literally got second, so that couldn't have turned out any better, and it was full proof that it was actually the first try. Because it feels bad when you're like the commissioner of the league, but you get like second draft spot, and you're like, I swear this is honest. But really, really happy to see that. There was quite a few things I was debating. So basically, let me actually go over the low tier draft. For anyone who does not know, it is in your standard draft league format. Typically, it is Pokemon in tiers 3 and below, or like certain point values. Either way, RU and below is also a good representation based off of Smogon tiers that you might see on the ladder. So it's basically your average level Pokemon and not your overpowered Pokemon like Excadrill, Garchomp, etc. So it really just highlights all the lower Pokemon, and how much different of a format it can be is actually really surprising. And it's just so much fun. RU has always been my favorite tier to ladder on, and like on Showdown. I really hate OU in general, and then RU's just always been preferred. I had top 10 for a good amount of time in RU for Gen 7, but I don't really just see myself laddering that much because I don't enjoy RU now. But hopefully that will change. But so with the second draft pick overall, I knew the first one probably going was going to be Heracross. The best thing in low tier is offensive fighting types. They are very, very strong. Because there's a limited fairies and only a few bulky psychics, to be completely honest. But the limited fairies is the big part, because you have things like Sylveon, Togekiss, those fairies banned. So you really have to capitalize on what you can pick up. So I knew that since the dude in first I already talked to was taking Heracross, I had to decide between two things. There was other good Pokemon like Crobat, Gardevoir, all top tier Pokemon. Crobat and Gardevoir would be amazing fighting checks, good speed, good ability, whatever. Like, both would have been really good. But I wanted to look at like the top tier fire types, because there was actually 3, but I was only looking at 2: Incineroar and Blaziken. For those who do not know, Blaziken got close combat and U-turn this generation after it was introduced in the Crown Tundra, which is amazing. And it even has access to like Aura Sphere if it wants to be special as well, which is pretty cool. But that makes Blaziken more of an offensive threat. Obviously, it's only Blaze allowed. Speed Boost Blaziken is still banned, so you have to run Blaze if you run a Blaziken. But I did just use Blaziken in my APA Classic, which you see a few videos up on my channel if you want to look at that. But I didn't think I feel like I used it best to my abilities, and that was Speed Boost Blaziken. But I had some terrible matchups with it, and I still think that it was going to be a little bit rough. It would be an amazing wall breaker, which is basically all that Blaziken would be used for. Obviously, it's not really a sweep as often because it doesn't have the speed boost ability, but it was just something I wanted to consider reusing because it's really strong with close combat and U-turn now. But then we're also Incineroar. Incineroar, amazing Intimidate Pokemon. Amazing, amazing Dark type, stab, knockoff, spam. Good average stats all around, as you can see on screen. It's just, parting shot's also so good. It's just a blanket check to so many Pokemon in the tier and can do so many things every week. It can be setup, it can be just defensive pivot, it can be a taunt abuser, it can be Scarfer, Choice Bander. It literally does it all. And with heavy duty boots, it makes it even better this generation. So I really just convinced myself, okay, I'm going to go Incineroar now. and then I'm going to get Mesprit on the way back, because Mesprit's a pretty good price, I feel like, and not many people love it too much, so hopefully I can get that on the way back. And yes, at the time I already drafted in Classic, but I was like, or no, in Ascension. Was it on my plan in Ascension yet? Either way. But I was just like, Incineroar plus Mesprit, soft checks just about all the entire meta. So I kept that in mind. And I went with Incineroar. So as I was already talking about, Incineroar, amazing stats, 95 in HP and 90s in both defenses. Really, really helpful. Especially with the Intimidate ability, being able to drop attack on switch in. So good. You could just make Incineroar Spadef for the majority of the time whenever you want it to be bulky. Obviously, Fighting type, like I mentioned, is very strong in low tier, and Incineroar is weak to it, but Intimidate can still be beneficial because that allows me to not have to worry about getting the strongest fighting check in the world, like a real fat one. I can just get something that's good utility still and something I can easily work with, because Intimidate from Incineroar is going to be a very good pivot. I can also Parting Shot out on the fighting types, because only a few of them are pretty fast. Most of them are genuinely slow, like Surfetch, Machamp, Hariyama, stuff like that. Incineroar is also slow, but might be able to work with it accordingly. But setup Incineroar can run like Flame Charge, Weakness Policy, because it's going to take like any hit. And I can run Knockoff Spam, like I mentioned. I can even run Nasty Plot if I want to run Special Incineroar. It's an option. Scorching Sands is cool that it gets that now. That could be cool. I don't really know if that will be helpful for the most part, but maybe it will. Taunt, U-Turn, Will-O-Wisp, Toxic. Just Darkest Lariat for setup, like bulky Psychic Shrine setup. I can just ignore that. Bulk up, SD. Like, Incineroar does so much, and I feel like I'm going to be able to abuse this Pokemon just about every week. And it will, if it's not my win con, it would easily be able to support my win con, or just be an easy wall breaker. So I'm really looking forward to Incineroar. I kind of regret not picking Blaziken, but I just used it, so I'm not really worried about it that much. And I'm pretty sure this might be my first time using Incineroar in draft, because I'm fairly positive I've been sniped of it every time I've wanted to use it. So that basically is what happened. So I decided to go with Incineroar. Very happy about it. As you can also see on the screen, I decided to go with One Piece nicknames. Please let me know what you think of all of them. I think there's only one, which is the next one, which I might be a little bit questionable. So on the way back up, in like round 2 of the draft, it was about halfway there, and then Mesprit was sniped from me. It was picked up by Max Rapture, who picked up Galarian Moltres and then Mesprit, which is pretty decent for him. But it was a little unfortunate, but I saw still some crazy Pokemon on the board that I wanted. So I opted to go with... I'm basically getting a wheel, by the way, because the dude in the first spot is also one of my admins, so I talked to him constantly about draft picks and everything throughout this. So I knew what I was getting each time. So first up, technically I picked up Roserade or Tama. I tried to go with the petals for the one new arc. What did I just say? Whatever. I definitely know I pronounced that wrong. But decided to go with Roserade. If anyone was aware, in the last draft analysis video I did, I love this Pokemon to death, and I opted to go with it again. Roserade was the second highest tier, but either way, really good for the bulky waters for Incineroar. Almost the only thing Incineroar could struggle to break, along with maybe like some of the bulky ground and rock types in the tier, like Rhyperior or Mudsdale. Roserade opens that right up. Although Roserade isn't a resisted, it doesn't resist ground typing, it's still really good offensively. Hazards, beautiful. Once again, love Roserade for the hazard stack and spikes and T-spikes. 100% toxic landing. Leech Seed if I want to. So good. Natural Cure allows us to be a designated Scald switch in. So Roserade's really just coming in on water just about every time, because I don't really need to run Technician anymore on Roserade, obviously, since Hidden Power is gone. So Roserade does get walled by steals just about the entire time, but I can Sleep Powder them if I don't expect them to have safety goggles on or something like that. So I can work with Roserade pretty well. Base 90 speed tier is pretty solid and low tier as well. It could be a really solid like Life Orb Breaker with Leaf Storm plus Sludge Bomb and then coverage or something of the sort. Typically you run like Leaf Storm, Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain Synthesis, or use sub out Giga Drain for a coverage move such as Extra Sensory, Shadow Ball, or Dazzling Gleam. So that does definitely have plenty to work with there. majority of the time, I'm probably going to be looking at like a mixed, bulky, offensive hazard stack Roserade, which sounds like a lot in one because it can be, because you just mix it up with what you need according to the week. But in general, if I'm able to throw out one T-Spike or one Spike, that can go a long way for me. Because most of the Pokemon that run heavy-duty boots are just weak to Stealth Rocks, so I'm at least getting Spike Chip on everything else that's not running boots. Unless they're like a heavy pivot Pokemon such as a Alolan Persian. So Roserade can capitalize big on that, and like I mentioned, it just pairs pretty well with Incineroar in my opinion. Not really a fighting resist, even though it is a poison type, because it's only got 60s in HP and defense. But it's definitely something I can work with, and obviously I love this Pokemon Death. Used it way too many times, but definitely going to be able to highlight it. It's one of my favorite Pokemon to use in RU as well, so that's going to go a long way for me. And to pair with Roserade, even though Registeel was still on the board, I opted to go with Steelix. Steelix was quite a few points cheaper than Registeel, and even though Registeel is without a doubt the best steel in the format, Steelix I felt like was still a good option, nonetheless. Because I wanted to make sure I got the steel, because there's not the best steals in low tier either. You literally have Registeel, Steelix, Bronzong. Those are like all the top ones, and then you have, well, I guess you can still consider, I'm blanking right now. I'm blanking. Escavalier. Escavalier is one of the other top ones. Fortress is okay. Yeah, and there's basically not that many after that, to be completely honest. Steelix, definitely the best one. Well, Registeel is best. And I still think Bronzong might be better than Steelix, but it gives me the ground typing. That's what I'm getting at, and it was cheaper than both the Bronzong and Registeel, so I wanted to go ahead and save a little bit on points. So that goes a long way. Amazing defensive stat, obviously, in 200. Absolutely ridiculous. Really good run split def, maybe with the defense boosting nature almost every week. It gives me really, really reliable Stealth Rocks, because obviously I get access to Sturdy. I'm never being one-shot, unless it's like strongest double kick in the entire game. Nah. Yeah, Steelix is never getting like killed in a single turn as long as I have Sturdy available, which is pretty good. But the thing is, all of these options are viable. Originally, it was just Sturdy or Sheer Force that you could easily abuse in draft format. But now Rockhead is very viable because Steelix got access to Head Smash. So now you're able to click this move and have a very strong rock type move that you don't take recoil on, and you just obliterate whatever in your face. So very helpful, because Steelix has kind of lacking attack, even though it's a giant iron monster. Only base 85 attack, which is kind of sucky, to be honest. But still really good. Sturdy heavy duty boots also ensures that even if an opponent has hazards up, Steelix can come in, click Roar, and stop any potential sweep they're just trying to do. I can also just be able to get the kill if I want to, click counter, something of the sort. So Steelix has multiple things, but mainly it is just so good at getting up Stealth Rocks turn 1. Also gets access to Taunt, which is really helpful for anything slower than it that might want to set up Trick Room or something. Toxic, of course, is very spammable with Steelix. So in the end, very good defensive check, and something I can bring just about every week to reliably get up rocks. That's what I'm trying to get across here. I have two amazing hazard setters along with an amazing pivot. So that's a really good thing to have starting off the draft, in my opinion. And after looking at these few Pokemon, I really want to complete my Fire, Water, Grass core, because I do have both Incineroar and Roserade already, obviously. And there was quite a few things I was looking at, but one of the best ones without a doubt, even though it was expensive, being in the third highest tier at 16 points, I believe. I decided to go with Alamamola. We got Shirahoshi here. Oh yeah, I didn't say, but Roserade, I'm also considering naming this Sanji. So let me know if you like Tama or Sanji better. Because I normally name my Roserade Romeo, so it kind of fits along the thing of Sanji. So, yeah. So, Alamamola here, fat as all heck, 165 base HP, ridiculous. Obviously bulkier on the defensive side because of the base 80 defense compared to 45 special defense. I wish it had slightly better special defense, but this Pokemon would be really annoying if it had any better defensive stats because of its ridiculously high HP. It's basically just the opposite of Toxapex in a way, but not as good in any way at all because Toxapex has Haze and it's not set up fodder, while Alamamola does not get access to Haze and is definitely set up fodder. The reasoning I'm fine with drafting Alamomola for this, Wish Pass, and the fact it's fat and just stops all of the offensive grounds in the format. Ground typing is also very strong in low tiers. Not many people, I think, acknowledge that, but you got Zygarde 10%, you got Mudsdale, you got Rhyperior. There is the offensive Steelix somewhat, but not obviously that strong. So there's a few. Crocodile we did ban, but there's quite a few that could be pretty abusive. So Alamomola coming in and just helping out with that is pretty big. Good Toxic Spammer, Wish, Heal Bell. Or not Heal Bell, I'm tripping. Healing Wish though. Yeah, so there's nothing really special about this Pokemon. It's just going to be fat Wish Pass, and I have to make sure I find a way that I'm able to consistently break subs and not be setup fodder with this Pokemon. I think I'll deal with it okay. But in general, this Pokemon's getting wishes back into Steelix, Roserade, Incineroar, and that's going to be amazing for my team. That's all I really need. Regen's going to be really spammable versus their physically offensive Pokemon that I absolutely wall. Yeah, so Alamomola is just going to do its job every week. I have seen someone win with the Calm Mind Alamomola. I do think I'm capable of doing that as well. It's going to be very matchup dependent because you're more than likely only able to run one attacking move, which would probably be Scald. So you'd have to keep in mind what route you're going with that. But very happy with Aloe being on the team. It was expensive, but Vaporeon was already picked up, which is the only other thing I considered because I wanted the pure water typing. I didn't need the ground typing. Along with like Gastrodon or Seismitoad or Swampert. Swampert was picked up like round 2 anyways because I think I'll flip turn. It's ridiculous. So I'm very happy with Alamomola. Hopefully it does well. I've used it before and it is, like I said, you just have to be aware of the setup fodder that Alamomola can do because its attack stats are lackluster. Most of the time it wants to run Scald to get the opposing Scald burn if it's not going to try and Toxic. So you're not abusing your better stat. So sometimes you are forced to run like Liquidation in order to be able to break sub. It's also a bulky Pokemon with knockoff, and getting rid of items in low tier is pretty big because a lot of Pokemon really try to abuse their offensive item or choice specs, or choice scarf because they're lacking speed. So to pair with Alamomola, I wanted to go ahead and get my really offensive fighting typing, and quite a few were taken obviously at this point. So I wanted to go with one that I still thought was good. I was debating between Passimian and it's right in front of me, Gallade. And I opted to go with Gallade. So Passimian, yes, it gets U-turn. And slightly less attack than Gallade at Passimian as well, but it has slightly better bulk in terms of defensive bulk. And it gets U-turn, it gets better coverage, debatably. But like, I don't know. Gallade just really stuck out to me, and I do think it might be better for my team anyways. Because, correct, Gallade didn't have any form of momentum, but now it does because Gallade got, or has always had, teleport because you know those Ralts stay trying to teleport away from you when you try to catch it. So now with the buff to teleport, Gallade does get a minus priorities switch out for me, which could be very solid because the main thing that wants to switch in on Gallade is bulky fairy types. What's a great thing for me if I'm able to teleport when the bulky fairy comes out? Oh, I don't know. I might just hazard stack with some of these cuties. So that just goes a long way right there. So even though I don't have the best defensive stats, and I do have to acknowledge that is a like teleport's going to be moving last, I still think it's going to be really good for the team because Gallade really forces those switch-ins, or you just sack a Pokemon. Base 125 attack is just so easy to abuse. You can easily run Choice Band or Choice Scarf majority of the week with Gallade. Close Combat and then Zen Headbutt / Psycho Cut. One thing I really suggest when you're looking into Gallade is that you have to debate on the week whether you want Easy Chip with your Psychic type move or you want the most damage output you can. Because Zen Headbutt does offer more damage, which I'll show down here. Zen Headbutt does offer 80 base damage, but the 90% accuracy. But you also get the advantage to flinch. Psycho Cut is weaker by 10 base power, being 70 physical. You do get a high crit ratio, and it always lands. So if you're trying to go for consistent damage, make sure to run Psycho Cut on Pokemon such as Gallade. I suggest the same for Medicham. So If you want consistent damage just to set up for another Pokemon, you're running Psycho Cut. If you want to be the Wincon, or just an absolute breaker for no reason, you run Zen Headbutt, and you risk the 10% miss. Typically, Zen Headbutt will also be better on Scarf, typically, because you also can outspeed and get the percent chance of flinch, which can win you the game because it is Pokemon. So, other than that, gets really good coverage, like with Elemental Punches, Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, Knockoff Spam once again. Leaf Blade can be helpful with bulky Pokemon such as that Swampert, Gastrodon, Seismitoad, like I mentioned. Memento is really nice. I don't really have the best setup sweeper right now, but having Memento for my setup sweepers, which we'll get to in a second, can go a really long way. I can also be a dual screens Gallade, which I've never used Gallade in draft format, but I've used dual screen Gallade on a ladder team one time, which was pretty cool because it got them up pretty freely and no one ever expected it. So I could be like dual screens teleport. But the thing is, Gallade's not that bulky, especially on the defensive side, so you have to make sure you're just about always clicking Reflect first. We do get Shadow Sneak for priority. It can run Bulk Up or Sword Stance to be able to sweep. Drain Punch for getting some health back. Yeah, it can do a lot. It can still be a Wish Passer as well, but it's not going to be realistic. Will-O-Wisp is really cool in some cases. Did get Triple Axle. Like, it's just got so much to its move pool that it's, in the end, just such a good fighting type to fit this team. Because the only one-dimensional Pokemon I have on this team at the moment is Alomomola. That's the only thing that can be one-dimensional. I did, like, Calm Mind is a potential thing, but everything else can do different stuff, because Steelix can easily be offensive in some cases compared to only being a defensive check. So, that at least gives it being two-dimensional. But yeah, Gallade's moveset can just like be such a big variety of moves. Like, I'm gonna hopefully abuse it a lot. So, as you can see, a Pokemon you see me bring a lot, purely because of that reason. So, all right. So for that one, I was like, okay, this is feeling good. I want to make sure I pick up my Fairy because the Fairy is the very next important thing. You don't really have to worry about a Dragon type. So everyone loves their Dragon Fairy Steel Course in Draft League, but so in Standard, I do think the Dragon typing is very still good to pick up. But it's one of the typings where it's not entirely necessary. So it's spammable in matchups with poor fairy types or poor steals. But in general, that's all it is it's an offensive typing. Very rarely is it a defensive typing unless you have Garchomp or Latias. So keeping that in mind, a dragon in low tier is just about non-existent. Noivern's the best one by far. And then you have like Duraludon, which we also allowed. And some Pokemon like that. So you really don't have to sweat it with a Dragon type in this. But I did want to grab my Fairy in Comfey. Now, this wheel was actually the most happy I've ever been, because we'll get to the second Pokemon in a second. Said second twice, which means it was the second time I said second. I hate myself. So, Comfey just allows me to get that amazing Fairy, and Comfey is a very, very strong potential sweeper, along with a solid bulky check when it comes down to low tier. Because, for those who are not familiar with Comfey, it has the ability Triage, which allows its healing moves to have priority, which is absolutely insane, because you're able to Synthesis, Draining Kiss, Giga Drain, anything of the sort will go first. Comfey is able to heal up versus anything and just not even worry about it. You run bulky offensive Calm Mind, you're able to boost your special attack, and you have Draining Kiss, which always goes first. I wish they made it to where the more likely used move was up there, but Draining Kiss is obviously still down here, even though it's Comfey. But Draining Kiss obviously able to heal it and still get off damage, even though it's phase 50. It's still going to go a long way for Comfey. And the Triage ability is just about all you're ever going to run. It does give me a Defogger, which is my first one of the group, my only form of hazard removal at the moment, which is pretty big. Encore is nice. Aromatherapy and Heal Bell really go a long way. Comfey really just does a lot. Tailwind, I don't really see me abusing Tailwind with this team, but it's an option. Taunt, very helpful as well. And a U-turn pivot is huge because there's a lot of course, scary steel types. Or not really scary, but some steel types like a Scavalier, which can easily deal with Comfey and then be really difficult to switch into. So U-turn pivot for that's really nice, along with offensive poison types, such as Dragalge, Garbodor, Toxicroak, all of that's really important as well to be able to pivot out on. So, and I can really get in Steelix for free, or my Roserade, and once again get up Hazards. So that really pairs well with there. Not too many of great stats. Base 100 speed is nice to have, but typically you're going to be a bulky Comfey anyways, because your ability allows you to outspeed everything in either way, unless you're running coverage such as Psychic, or it doesn't get Psychic coverage, right? Oh no, it doesn't. It only gets stored power. Okay, well, yeah, typically you're just going to be bulky with special attack and abuse your ability. So that's basically what it comes down to. And you really want to invest in the HP because you only have a low base 51 HP. So keeping all that in mind, Comfey, really good backbone for the team. Going to be an amazing check to dragons, fighting types, etc. It's not the best fighting type check, but once again, at least I have potential Intimidate from Incineroar to abuse on that. So all good there, and my Psychic type also being delayed with weak defense. I really have to be aware of that, but I mean, Steelix is even weak to a fighting type move, but it's going to take about just about anything. And then Alamomole is just ridiculously defensive, so I'm not really too worried about it at the moment. And Comfey is an amazing like sweeper in the low tier, because I can easily pressure Steel types with this team at the moment. Obviously, Incineroar, Steelix, Glade, all be able to hit them with super effective coverage. And then Roserade potentially able to get a Sleep Powder off versus them, so, or just weaken them with like a very strong Leaf Storm. So with the next pick, someone did tell me that they were interested in this Pokemon, and I begged them. I was like on my knees begging, please don't do it. And they didn't, and we were able to grab Exploud. I am so happy I was able to pick up Exploud. You have no idea. Exploud, one of my top favorite Pokemon to use in RU. Once again, I'm trying to draft some of those Pokemon because I'm most comfortable with using them. And I know how ridiculously good they are. Even in draft format, there is no switch-ins to Exploud. Hardly any at all. Because, yeah, you can spam a normal type, but then the ghosts just get in the way. No, you get Scrappy. Who cares? You're going to hit the ghost type. There's no point. Immune to Intimidate don't really matter. But, like, just being able to hit ghost types, like, some decent ones in the tier, such as Decidueye, Dhelmise, everything like that. And just spamming Boom Burst with Choice Specs. So abusive. So abusive. Soundproof really only helps me versus the like opposing potential Boom Burst and like Swellow, Chatot. That's really all we got because Toxtricity is banned easily. That thing's stupid strong. So yeah. But Exploud really just gonna be running Choice Specs majority of the time. I do have some tech that with Exploud which I don't really want to share, but it's not really that special in the same way. You can see Exploud stats here. 104 HP is pretty nice. Defensive bulk, not the best. It is good to get his screens with Exploud typically. Klefki is one of the best Pokemon to pair with Exploud. But I did want to go that route this draft, and Klefki was picked up I think pretty early on anyways in round 2, so I didn't even have an option of taking it. So, Exploud, just really abusive. Okay speed tier. I wish I got Webs to abuse this Pokemon along with like Incineroar and Gallade, but I'm still happy with how my draft turned out. And in the end, yes, you'll see this Pokemon just run Choice Specs, maybe Choice Scarf for the majority of time, and just click Boom Burst. So we'll have to see. I definitely know I'm going to be able to get quite a few kills with Exploud. I don't know if I'm going to bring it every week, even though it is definitely capable of coming every week, and typically being a 1-for-1 Pokemon, because obviously it is going to be slower than majority of the metagame, I would say. And if you're locked into a move, some Pokemon are able to abuse it if they do resist Boom Burst and can take a special hit decently well, such as the Steels like I mentioned in Bronzong and Registeel. But those are some of the very few checks, so you have to keep that in mind. Next up, I wanted to get a Ground Immunity because I do not have a Ground Resist at the moment. I would like to consider Alamomole one, but I wouldn't want to go that far yet, so wanted to pick up my Flying typing that gives me good defog as well as the Ground Immunity, which is Nami here. We have Altaria. Now, Altaria was actually a pretty fair price in my opinion at 4. I don't think it really should have been too much higher than 4 points, and I wanted to pick it up early purely because I think this is pretty good bulk for a defogger. 75 HP, 90 defense, 105 SpDef. That's pretty solid. I even get the Dragon typing. Altaria is by no means an offensive dragon with 70s in attack and special attack, but I can easily abuse this Pokemon in its defensive category. So, as you can see by these abilities, these are 2 amazing abilities for what this Pokemon can do. Natural Cure. Very, very beneficial switching into Scalds, taking burns, not worrying about it. I take a Toxic, I switch out, don't have to worry about it. I can even run Heal Bell on this Pokemon if I wanted to make sure I don't get any status on the team. Cloud 9. So I want to make this clear. Drought and Drizzle are banned. There's too good a Pokemon to abuse that. And, like, Pelipper would have been banned in the first place if it had Drizzle, but, like, Politoed still would have been a good pick with it. Torkoal and Ninetales both would have been in this tier, and that would have been crazy. Sun would have ran it. Rain still would have been very good. So we had to ban those 2. But there is still 2 Hail teams, I believe. At least 2. So you might be thinking Altaria is 4 times weak to Ice types. Why does it matter if you have Altaria for a Hail team? So Cloud 9 makes it to where literally all effects are gone. So even Slush Rush Pokemon that are all slower than Altaria, by the way. All Slush Rush Pokemon in Beartic, Arctozolt, and Arctovish, Alolan Sandslash, all of them are slower than Altaria. And they don't get the benefit with the Hail Slush Rush because of Cloud 9. So, I can easily run offensive Cloud 9 Altaria, click a Fire type move, and just kill, like Obama Snow. Or the Alolan Sandslash. Beartic, because it's not that bulky. Altaria, once again, doesn't have the best stats to go with it, but it's an option. Also, I'm able to come with Altaria and Cloud 9, and I can either set up Weather of my own and set up Rain for like this Pokemon, which I'll get to in a moment, or I can just set up a Tailwind, and then I immediately outspeed all those Slush Rushers, and I don't care about them at all. So there's a lot of ways I can abuse these weather teams, and in general, I'm getting a really good Defogger. It's really bulky, it can roost, it can even set up, I can be really bulky Dragon Dance Cotton Guard like Mega Altaria would be. But I can still go with this. It does get access to Dual Wing Beat now, which is nice. Haze for setup. But one main thing I am looking forward to, which is new this generation, it always had access to Parasong, Song, but it had nothing to trap it. And now it gets Fire Spin. So now I can be Fire Spin, Parasong, Song, Roost, and like potentially just Protect. Switch out right before Parasong's about to go down, have their Pokemon faint, and GG. That Pokemon's gone, Altaria could still be healthy, and I can do it to another one. And I might have gotten rid of like the 1 check to Comfey, the 1 check to Exploud, the 1 check to Incineroar from setting up and sweeping. Like, there's so many possibilities that I'm able to get rid of Pokemon with this set is, that I definitely see myself bringing it at least once in the format. Because I do have a lot of good Pokemon, so it might not be realistic for me to bring it often. But I do think I'm going to be able to use Altaria at its best that... well, Altaria has just been at its best that it's ever have, in my opinion. Maybe not at its release, obviously, all the way in Gen 3. But with heavy-duty boots and being able to abuse that can go a long way with it. So I'm really looking forward to that. And next up is Glaceon. We have Kuzan here. Glaceon was only 2 points. I don't know why we accidentally did that in tiering, but as soon as I saw it, I wanted to pick up Glaceon early. Yes, it only has Ice coverage plus Shadow Ball, but base 130 special attack with spammable Freeze Dry and Blizzard. Yeah, no, I'll take that. Like, I don't really care. I'll take it. 65 speeds, whatever. But also, it's another good Wish Passer. Decent Spadef wall. I wouldn't really say defensive wall, because Ice typing is terribly defensive. But it is another Wish Passer for the team, Heal Bell Cleric. Like, I really have a solid team, like, balanced team, to where I'm able to run, like, almost borderline stall if I really need to set up one piece of offense in the back or something. Or I'm able to run just really offensive, or just in general, just it's going to be balanced most of the weeks for this team. And I think this is perfect, to be completely honest. Yeah. So Glaceon, probably just run like offensive freeze dry when I do bring it. It does have that option to be the Wish Passer though. Can be Yawn, Baton Pass, Wish, like yeah. There's nothing too special about it, but 130 special attack freeze dry can go a long way. It really can. Especially if their Steel type is going to be Bronzong in the matchup or something like that. That's easy Shadow Ball damage. And then I'm easily able to spam Freeze Dry later on. So, and my last 2 picks, there was a few things that luckily made it back. Omastar was something I wanted from the beginning, and I'm very happy we got it. I've just always wanted to use this thing for Shell Smash. It's really cool, first off. Second, also got Meteor Beam. So, even though I'm not going to be able to abuse Swift Swim Meteor Beam because I don't have a Rain Setter, obviously with Drizzle being banned, I can set up Rain with something else if I really wanted to, and then try to win from there on out, because Omastar does have good base 115 special attack and genuinely doesn't need the Shell Smash if I'm able to weaken every Pokemon on their team accordingly. But if I am able to get the Shell Smash off, that goes a long way as well. And with Weak Armor, Omastar is also an amazing hazard stack lead, because it does get access to both Spikes, T-Spikes, and Stealth Rock, which is amazing. This is also my second Stealth Rocker to go along Steelix. It takes a little bit of pressure off Steelix, which goes a long way. And then, but overall, Shell Smash, easy coverage for Omastar. You can run either Stabs and Water and Rock, being Hydro Pump, and then Meteor Beam or Power Gem. And then you're able to run Ice Beam or Earth Power. Like, it's just such good coverage. It doesn't get Power Gem, my apologies. It's really just physical Rock type move or Ancient Power. But typically you'll run like Hydro Pump or Surf, and then Earth Power, Ice Beam, along with Shell Smash or something like that. So, or be a Hazard Stack lead. So, I'm really looking forward to using this Pokemon. I think it will have a few good matchups where it can just win. You do have to be careful what you set up on, though. It can take any hit, just about, unless it's like Grass, obviously. 70 and HP and 70 Spadef isn't the best. So offensive Grass and Electric's definitely not going to be setting up on that. I have to be aware of their coverage. Don't have to worry about Hidden Power Grass, though, which makes this Pokemon significantly better, and I'm very happy about that. Typically, you'll take just about any defensive hit when you try to set up, as long as you're slower. If you're faster, obviously you will get the Shell Smash off and you will lower your defenses, so you want to probably prioritize setting up on something faster than you. That way that you are able to get it off pretty safely. So it can be a little specific on its setup, but like I mentioned, I might be pretty able just to get up Rain Dance with a different Pokemon and then just have Omastar go in with Swift Swim. So that's all good. And then lastly, I just opted to go with Ninjask with my remaining points. I had absolutely nothing over base 100 speed, so slap on that base 160. Ninjask is actually pretty decent still. Obviously, it's going to be forced to run heavy duty boots just about every week. But it can be a defogger. Really good U-turn pivot. Dual wing beat now gives it a reliable physical flying type move. Can run Night Slash, still could be Toxic, SD, like, it can do a few things. Speed Boost is nice. Infiltrator is also nice for any, like, sub-Pokemon I'm worried about. But yes, it's going to be forced to run Heavy Duty Boots, but because of its base 160 speed stat, it is going to be able to outspeed a lot of the Pokemon in the low-tier metagame. I even outspeed majority of the Scarfers just by going max speed. So, really have to keep that in mind. Ninjask might come in clutch a few weeks, but in general, this is probably the Pokemon I'm going to bring the least. Everything else I can see myself bringing very often. It's going to be really hard to prep for my team. People can say they might have like one solid abuser, but it's going to be pretty hard to break through this team, and I am extremely happy about it. Please let me know down in the comments what your favorite Pokemon is, when you want to see these battles, either Wednesday or Saturday, and what you thought of the One Piece nicknames. Yes, I do like to have themes for all my nicknames. Typically, it's a little bit weeby, but it's whatever. So, that's going to be it for me, guys. Please let me know when you want to see the battle. I cannot wait, and I keep saying that because I love this tier so much. Sub, like, share, see you later.